This is Trailblazers Leagues, a temporary game mode where we complete tasks to unlock new areas, gain points to unlock powerful game-altering relics, all for the ultimate end goal of Dragon Cup. This is my journey.
Finally got in, and we get to start on leagues and go through the tutorial. I'm going to do this a little bit different than how I'm going to do the rest of the videos. This video, I'm going to show every single task I do, and the main focus of this video is going to be unlocking the very first area choice, not the tutorial one, because that's going to happen in the next 30 seconds here. The first actual choice, so that way you can follow along. If you're doing it yourself, you can just do what I'm doing, and then next thing you know, you're ready in your first region. Now, this first relic, I made a video on it separately, but really there's any option you can do. You can do Endless Harvest, which means resources are gathered twice. Production Prodigy, basically everything's processed at the same time. And then Trickster, which has all these cool buffs to various skills. But I'm going Production Prodigy because I think it's going to be the best long-term relic. And the very first thing we're going to do is find these men over here. And we're going to pickpocket it. So I'm going to swap my left-click to pickpocket so I can just left-click pickpocket this men. And I've already completed 3 tasks, or completing the leaks tutorial, pickpocketing a citizen, and also opening the league's interface. So I already have 3 of those tasks done. But we're going to stay here until 15 thieving. And there's task number 4, getting my first level up. And luckily someone died here, so I got to pick up their bones, and I get to bury their bones. So that's a free task. I was going to get that from a goblin later, but I got them right now, so that's very useful. We also got our first level 5. And now that I have 28 successes, I have 28 coin pouches in my inventory, which means I can click on it and get a task for opening 28 coin pouches at once. Very, very, very useful. My overall goal for the series is going to be getting the dragon rank, which requires 56,000 points, and also just have a lot of fun with it. Leagues is my favorite time of the year, my favorite time, I guess, of the past 2 years, and I really want to get that done. Oh, that's perfect timing. I was 1 pickpocket away, and I ended up dying, which means I spawn right back here. I can loot all my items from the grave there. Everything's back, and boom, we have full HP for the next journey. Level 15 was where we were planning on stopping it. So I went ahead and banked everything, and I grabbed my coins. I think that's everything. I will need the tinderbox for this next section. So we're going to do our first teleport, and one of the cool things about Trailblazers Leagues is that there are lodestones. You can teleport to the central hub at each area, and the central hub at Karamja is, I believe, right at the Brimhaven house portal. So that's going to be very helpful. Yeah, so we're a couple squares away, and luckily enough, there is a pineapple on the pineapple plant, so I can go ahead and pick one of those for a nice free easy task. So the first thing we're going to do over here is talk to the charter crew member, and I'm going to purchase myself a pot. I'm going to need it later, and this is just another task where I can buy something from the trader crew members. Okay, Jamuna is pretty cool. Because she sells bronze bars for 12 GP each and shops on Trailblazers League. Yeah, they auto update every single time that you buy something. So the stock always stays at maximum, so it's always going to be 12 GP. I make myself a bronze full helm first. And the item that we're primarily going to be making here are bronze javelin heads. And the reason why we're making the bronze javelin heads, and we'll make them all at once, is A, really good experience. I got all the way up to level 11, but B, they sell for a lot of GP. So I'm going to update my shift click here to sell 5, and then I can just spam click this, and look at that GP stack grow. We're already up to 800. So we made the plate skirt, which is going to be another task, and we're now up to 12 tasks already. And this bronze bar tech is going to be a nice little jump start to the cash stack, because making cash really early, especially without Trickster, is actually kind of difficult. There is level 30 smithing, which is enough to make steel weaponry, and And it's also our first level 30. One thing I didn't mention at the start is you actually get plus 12 boost on all the production skills. So I actually have the ability to go all the way up to 42. So our main way of training smithing in the future is probably going to be through gold ore. So that might be the end of smithing on this account. But before we leave, we're going to buy an unlit torch. I'm going to go ahead and light it, which is another task to light a torch. We're now up to 15 tasks already. It's been 15 minutes and I've done 15 tasks. I think I might be able to keep up that one task a minute rate. But the very next thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be going to Shiloh Village, because Shiloh Village quest is auto-completed, which means I can just pay fare on this travel cart, go down there, and purchase some items. The first thing is from Fernandi. I'm going to go ahead and buy 50 bait, and I'm going to buy a fishing rod, because this is the only place in the league where you can get that. On top of that, I believe I can get an task from Duradel because it does any restrictions. Looks like you can't get a Slayer task from Duradel, so I have to get it from a different master. I think they avoid combat level requirements, but not Slayer requirements, so I can still check the task on your enchanted gem even if you don't have one, but I'll be getting the Slayer task from Vinaka. Now, I think I'm done everything I need to do in Shiloh Village, so I'm going to home teleport back to Lumbridge. I can use the League's interface teleport to get back to Lumbridge, but I'm actually going to use the home teleport because that is also a task, and it doesn't count if you use the Lumbridge version. So there, we get to cast the home teleport, and we're now back in the chaos that is Lumbridge. And I'm also going to buy a bronze axe here as a waste in GP because I have some in the bank. I just don't want to go back to the bank. We can drop the lit torch. We can drop the enchanted gem. And we are moving on to the woodcutting portion of the grind. Purchase a knife to be able to train fletching. And now we're just going to mosey around in this area and chop around some normal trees. And now that I'm level 6 woodcutting, I'm going to be using the steel axe, which will make these chops like twice as good. This is as a whole, I made my task list to be very non-competitive, and this is one of the few portions of the grind that is actually competitive. But once we get through normal logs, oak logs and above are no longer competitive. But we are now over level 100. I didn't put the total level tasks into my route. Just builds in a little bit of, not necessarily backloading, but like it's an extra task that I didn't pay attention to. So if another task doesn't work, it's great to have this in the back pocket. That is 15 woodcutting, and I burnt my first normal log. So I think I may have enough to get both the fletching up and the fire making up. So yeah, I was able to get myself up to level 15 fire making here, which gives me the ability to burn an oak log. Once I chop an oak log here, and there should be a task also for chopping an oak log. Oak trees work on timers now, so I think this oak tree stays up for 27 seconds after the first log is chopped, so we'll just chop this one tree. All right, burnt some oak logs, completed an easy task in the Lumbridge diary. We're now up to 22 tasks complete. And now I can fletch some arrow shafts with the leftover logs. That's going to get me up to level 3 fletching, which will now boost me up to 15 fletching once that updates. And that will allow me to use these oak logs to make arrow shafts. And I didn't really go over this at the start, but every time that we get these extra arrow shafts or whatever we're producing, we actually get the extra experience for it as well. So that's extremely beneficial. It essentially means 25% experience boosted in these 5 skills. And there was a task to defeat a goblin. I already buried the bones from before, but I might as well get some extra prayer experience. So I'm shearing some sheep here, but it is relatively competitive here. So I don't actually want to stay here for too long, and I'm only going to get myself 5 pieces of wool. 5 balls of wool here. Should actually be some crafting levels, and I did get one extra one in the bank. Oh, I didn't get a crafting level. That's annoying. Anyway, we're going to start the Rune Mysteries quest, which is kind of funny, but it's actually a very important quest to get done. As soon as you start the quest, you can go down the floor, right-click, locate, and you can locate a runecrafting altar with a talisman with it, which is a nice, easy task. The next set of tasks is what I'm going to call the Cook's Assistant tasks. These are really good tasks to get done because by completing Cook's Assistant, you essentially complete 4 tasks, which is kind of crazy. First off, to get the egg, I search this coop here in the north. Then we're going to have to pick some wheat to make some flour. Again, making flour is also a task. I was like, oh, I'm doing the task wrong. Did I write this down wrong? And then I remembered it's not actually dancing, it is crying. So we want to cry in a wheat field, and by crying in a wheat field, we get another task done. They added a lot of these like really dumb tasks, but they're kind of fun to do, and they're good to check off. Fill the grain, operate the controls, climb down the ladder. You've made flour before in RuneScape. And we empty it into a flour bin. That is another task complete. We now have 2 of the 3 items for Cook's Assistants. And now we just need to get the last one. All we need to do, click a cow with a bucket in our inventory. And we got a bucket of milk and a task done. And by giving him the ingredients, we get to complete Cook's Assistant, which not only gives us 300 cooking experience, which brings us all the way up to 11 and 23, but it also gives us the ability to use this range, which is going to be helpful for this next section. With level 15, we're able to pickpocket from hand members, and realistically, I only want to pickpocket once and get the hell out of here because I don't have Trickster. So I just came in, pickpocketed the door here, and just went down. Very easy task. The next section we're going to start is the fishing/cooking section, where we can fish and cook everything down here. And once we are in the graveyard here, I believe this is going to count. If we dance in a graveyard, that is another task. I routed this so that on my run through here, I was going to do that. And also, while we're here, we're going to visit Death's Domain because that is another task. We're going to start here with fishing. We have basically no boost to fishing, and we're going to be doing this all the way to level 10. So this should be our first moment of AFK to have a nice little relaxation. Instead of using a fire because I want to bank this food, I decided to run back to Lumbridge. It's gonna be a little bit slower, but that means I get a little bit more experience. By cooking the shrimp there, we got ourselves 4 tasks. Cook a shrimp, use the range in the Lumbridge Castle, successfully cook 5 pieces of food in a row, and burn some food. Luckily, I burnt one of them. That was actually very helpful. But that's 40 points right there. Man, 1 to 10 fishing took like forever. Going from 10 to 15 fishing took like, it felt like 30 seconds. Now that we're level 15, we have the ability to catch anchovies along shrimp. So hopefully we pick that up right here. There it is. Yeah, took like 5 or 6 shrimp. We are now done fishing and cooking for the next little while. I'll probably use that as AFK time in the near future because there's a lot of really good tasks there. But for now, that is all the fishing and cooking I really need to get done. I do need to actually cook one of these herrings for a task because they made a Monty Python reference with the task where you get to use a herring on a tree, which I think is really funny. Just come here, use herring on a tree. Gotta love that. Another interesting thing is because we start with Lost City already complete, we just get to use a fairy ring. So once we go in here, we actually get to complete 2 tasks right away, which is crazy. 1 for entering Daenerys and 1 for using a fairy ring. And then we can immediately leave. So by talking to Ned, we can have him make us some rope. Yes, I would like some rope. I have some balls of wool. Let's give him some balls of wool. You should talk to him with 4 balls of wool, and you get a rope out of it. That'll be pretty nice. And then the next thing I can do is talk to Aggie. She takes 20 coins away from us, but hey, I got 10 league points. I'll take that trade any day of the week. I'm now 3 tasks away from unlocking the next relic, And I could just go get 20 points by doing the Draenor rooftop, but before I want to actually enter Draenor Manor, as that's going to get me one of the 3 tasks I have left. And if we stand beside these chairs, eventually they should follow you by getting off the other people. And getting a chair to follow you is a task. So dumb, I love it. There are a total of 4 tasks that I can get done here right away. First off, just any rooftop lap is going to be a task. Second off, by completing a single lap of the Draenor course, I also get a task. So that's going to be 2 tasks on my first lap. The third task is obtaining a Mark of Grace. And then the last task is going to be completing 10 laps here. Anyway, with our first lap, I completed 2 more tasks. And now I have the ability to unlock a new relic. And there are 2 relics in this tier. There is Globetrotter, which basically gives you all the teleports from the Portal Nexus and all the teleports from the Jewelry Box. And there's Fairy's Flight, which allows you to teleport to any fairy ring, spirit tree, or to a leprechaun. And I think this is a cooler item, so I'm going to go for it. But in order to actually activate this relic, I'm going to have to go to a bank area. So we'll go to the bank and we'll pick Fairy's Flight. Top of that, by being a tier 2 relic gamer, my XP rate is now 8 times. Makes all the remaining skill goals I'm going to do for the final 12 tasks that much more efficient. I was worried I wasn't going to get the Mark of Grace, but I got it on the 8th lap, thankfully. It's hard to see in the sea of people dropping expensive items. But we're already up to level 25 agility. Just shows you how much the levels go up with 8 times experience. And I think I'll have to do a total of 13 laps here to get to level 30, which is going to be our goal. The 10 laps are done. Got myself the medium task, which medium tasks are worth 40 points this league. They were 50 last time, so all the high level tasks have actually been nerfed down a little bit. Now, before I leave Draenor, there is one thing I want to do, and that is trade Fortunato. This is going to be my main source of food at Wintertodt, which, spoiler alert, I'm picking Zeah. So I'm going to get myself a couple hundred wines. It shouldn't take too long. It's much easier than in the main game. Now I get to use a Fairy's Flight for the first time. So I'm going to go to Fairy Ring, and I'm going to go to the Wizard's Guild, or the Wizard's Tower. So it kind of shows the power of this. I can use this basically right away. It's only like a short walk I saved, but it's something. And I'm bringing the Air Talisman to help progress through Rune Mysteries. And the first thing I'm doing is stealing from this tea stall. That's an easy task, and that's a very, very easy task. And I'm just slowly making my way through the city and doing all the really easy tasks here. If you've ever made an Iron Man account, then you know about the natural history quiz. So basically what you do is you study the plaque in every single area, and you click the thing that RuneLight highlights. And all 14 questions, or 42 questions, have been done, and we're going to get 1,000 experience in both Slayer and Hunter. But that's actually boosted because of the XP multipliers. So that means I actually ended up getting 8,000 experience in each, which means I now have 25 in both Slayer and Hunter, and my total level is almost up to 250. The task count is 6 tasks left to go. And one very easy task is you find Elsie over here. You give her a cup of tea, and she will tell you a story. There is also a task for turning any logs into a plank, so we are able to get that there. We do need 5 bolts of cloth for this quest, and we also need nails. The amount you need varies depending on if you're failing, but because we're like level 1 construction, we're going to fail a lot. And then the other cool thing we can do is we can do that last destination, and then that teleported us right to Varrock, saving us some time instead of having to worry about running. Like, who needs to run in this game mode? And that is Mahogany Homes complete, which gave us the ability to own a house. Very nice. And we still have 1,700 coins left over. Alongside that, we got ourselves the bolts of cloth back, some teleports to house, some Falador teleports, some mithril nails, and these steel bars. Now, the steel bars are actually going to be important because there is a task to use one of those steel bars, and I specifically got the smithing level, so I would be able to use that. And I can save the other 4 bars for clockworks in the future for my house. And we are going to make steel bolts unfinished, which is a task. It is a medium task as well, so that is 40 points. Very, very nice. And I am now 1 task away from unlocking my new area. And with the lap complete, I now have the 60 tasks needed to unlock a new area by completing the Varrock agility course. And there are a lot of regions. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 regions to pick from, 8 regions to pick from, and I only get access to 3 of them. But my build is going to be around Kourend. I just, from the start, from like the day they announced that Kourend was going to be in Trailblazers, I wanted to pick it. So we are going to pick the Great Kourend and Kebos Lowland region. The key info is there's all these settlements, lots of combat-related activities, lots of skilling activities, and lots of good things. So I'm very, very, very happy with this. So let's unlock the Great Kourend and Kebos Lowlands. Booyah. Oh, perfect timing. Oh no, I don't want to shoo away. Don't leave. Let me pet you. Okay, I pet the stray dog. Anyway, that is going to be the end of this video. I got Zeah unlocked in 88 minutes, so under an hour and a half. I consider that a success. I wanted this to be like a guide style video so that you could follow my exact route to unlock your first area, as this is going to be the same for everybody. You should be able to follow this exactly, assuming you get you have production prodigy. If you have trickster, some other things will be slightly different. Like you can do the bronze bar attack, but it'll be a lot slower. But I'm going to finish up some tasks in this area, and then we're gonna zoom on to Zeah. And there's a certain skill I'm gonna be training next time that anyone who started an Iron Man account will know all too well. Anyway, first episode, like it, subscribe, comment, all that good shit. It'll really help out in the algorithm. Bye.